Hello, Jambo, Salam Alaikum, Namaste and Sat Sri Akal. Welcome again to Ammijaan's kitchen, and we're back here with our 5-minute recipe that we talked about. Might be 7 minutes, but there we go. Today we're going to make tuna pasta sauce with tomato. And the first thing that I have to point out is there is so much tuna out there that you need to know which one I use for this particular recipe. And that is the tuna in oil. And this is the only brand I like that comes in oil. The flavor is lovely. The pieces of tuna are nice and big. Doesn't look all mushed up. And I believe it's in soy oil or something like that. You might have to read it and decide. Maybe that's not something you can have. In which case, whichever tuna that you like. But I love the flavor of this one. So we've got tuna in oil. We probably won't need the olive oil. A chili pepper, optional. I like my things a little bit spicy. About an inch piece of leek, which I'm going to chop up nice and fine. A good 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. And then fresh tomatoes from my garden, but it could be any kind of tomatoes that you have. Mine have just been frozen and blended from the garden. And then, of course, salt to taste. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, this is a little bit unusual. It's just my thing that I like to do. It might not be your thing. I like for the sauce to have a little more flavor. And the way I find I get that is, this is what we call in Italian, they call it dadi. But here we call it a stock cube, basically. Before you start the recipe, have your pot boiling with water and salt. And always have almost 3 times the amount of water to the amount of pasta. So the pasta comes to a nice rolling boil and there's lots of space for it to move. And always salt your water so that way when you finish your sauce, the pasta itself has a flavor. It doesn't have to depend entirely on the sauce because that kind of takes away from it. And as soon as you drain that pasta, immediately toss it into the sauce and serve, and obviously garnish with a nice, fresh, store-bought grana cheese or parmesan. And it just gives it so much more flavor. And another one to use which I really like is Asiago. So here we are. I've drained the oil, and if you go a little bit towards the broth, because at the bottom there'll be broth. It's not the end of the world, but basically all you want is the oil, and you don't have to use olive oil then. So the the sauce is already going to have that nice fishy flavor from the tuna. So there's the oil. We're going to throw in the garlic, the pepper, optional, you don't have to, and leek. And there we are. Let's just make sure it's tossed and mixed up in the oil. Highish heat, let it come up to a nice heat, and then you can turn it down. It is really so quick. Now remember, in the meantime, you've got your pasta water boiling there. The tuna now will be added at the very end, because nothing worse than having the tuna in there and then stirring it up and it mushes it all up and looks like dog food. So there, the garlic is starting to cook. So is the leek and the chili pepper. I like a little bit of heat, and what's nice about keeping it whole is it doesn't give that much heat until you break it. So there's always that nice option. And you don't want to fry the garlic and leek until it's brown. You just want to soften it. Now here, because we have tomato, we don't have a problem. But this is where, like anything else, as soon as you cook your garlic and your leek, you need to give it some sort of a water to soften it. So obviously we're going to put our tomato, so that's not a problem. And now I'm going to add the tomato. Pasta sauce, generally, in Italy, at least this is the impression I've been given by my sisters, is something you make fresh and eat fresh. It's not something that's made up a few days ahead. So really simple pasta sauces like this one, and I've got 3 more coming, are very easy to make there. So really, at this point, you're not even doing anything to the sauce. It's all done. I didn't add any salt, because as we know, all the canned goods come with salt added. So just, you know, everybody's taste is different. Have a little taste. I'm a salt person. I would like a little salt. So where my salt is going to come is from the dadi. So there we are. It's already done. Basically, your sauce is ready. And I've decided that's too much for the amount I'm making. So I'm just going to cut it yet again. So you can see it's just a small piece, and you put it in only after you add the tomato, not before. You don't want to fry it, you don't want to cook it. It's basically broth. So there you go, and there's no need to add water to the broth because there's already tomato. And believe it or not, your pasta sauce is ready. I'm sure it took 5 minutes or less. Now, just to show you what I'm going to do at the end here, the daddy is finished, is dissolving. There's no need to cook it anymore. And the way you can tell you've cooked it enough is that little bit of oil, it's hard to see for you, but the little bit of oil that surfaces on the top of the tomato tells you the sauce is ready. So we're just going to mix this up. Squish that daddy right in. You can smell that lovely flavor. Right here you stop, and this is what I do. I turn it right down and empty the entire tin of tuna right on there like that. Don't mix it, just leave it like that until you're ready to eat. And the next one we'll do is we'll take a picture of the pasta and the sauce just to show you how it looks as a finished product. But that is dinner, and honestly, how long did that take me? Especially in our busy lifestyle, we all like to learn these little tricks. So thank you again for joining me on Ammijaaan's Kitchen. And please like and subscribe, and we'll see you with the next 5 to 7 minute video. I'm going to call it 5 to 7 minutes in case I go over. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.